Any detective will tell you that in a missing persons investigation, time is critical, which is why Pamela Norton Wilson's children were so frustrated that they could not get their mother listed as missing for years, even though they knew something had happened to her. April 11th, 2009, two turkey hunters were walking through the quiet, desolate woods of the Deep Creek Hunting Club in Briceville when they found something human, a skull and leg bone lying on the ground. The Nassau County Sheriff's Office took the bones, but no DNA matches came back. They then tried to do a facial reconstruction sketch and released it to local news, but no leads came in. As time ticked on, the case went cold, waiting for a break that would come a decade later.
What is a life worth? My mother's life was a human being, and she didn't deserve what she got.
Donald Ferreira and his sister Amanda Driggers made the decision in 2019 to submit their DNA to NamUs, the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System. It was their last-ditch effort to try and find their mother, and it turned out to be the decision that broke a cold case wide open.
And I got the call. It was very shocking and surreal.
On the other end of the line was Detective Mark Murdock with the Nassau County Sheriff's Office, telling Donald bones found in 2009 matched the DNA he and his sister had submitted. The remains were their mother, Pamela Norton Wilson, but she hadn't been seen since 1999. Pamela Wilson lived a complicated life. She was a mother to her two children, Donald and Amanda, but she also struggled with addiction.
In these moments where she was clear, she was a great mom. You know, she was really thoughtful and did all the things that moms would do.
He and Amanda remembers her warm hugs and kind nature. But Donald also remembers one of the last conversations they had when Pamela told him she was going to stop using. But later that day, he watched her gather up a bag of her things and get into a red van.
And I just remember her looking back and saying, "I'm sorry." And she got in, and that was the last time I ever saw her.
Shortly after that, Pamela was arrested on drug charges and taken to the jail in downtown Jacksonville. Her mother paid a bondsman to bail her out and gave an extra $100 for Pamela to be put into a cab and sent to their home on the west side. But she never arrived home. Pamela's mother tried to report her daughter as missing with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, but because Pamela missed her court dates, she was listed as a fugitive, not as missing.
So that kind of kicked her out of the system for any possibility of having any samples or anything sent to NamUs, because one of their restrictions is they have to be listed as missing.
Leaving Detective Murdock at square one 2 decades later.
You know, most cold cases you have a little bit more information, I feel. There's a little bit more evidence. And now we're looking at something 20 years later where key players are deceased themselves.
The biggest question, how did Pamela die? The medical examiner's report does note blunt force trauma on the right side of her skull, which created a fracture, but it doesn't list a specific cause of death.
Was she murdered? Was it a malicious act, or was it, unfortunate accident where she overdosed and somebody disposed of the body? So that we don't know.
He is hoping that those who knew Pamela in 1999 can shed some light on who she was spending time with and where she might have gone after leaving jail. DNA has helped Pamela's children find their mother's remains, but they and Detective Murdock need help from the public to answer what happened to her.
So long, time has gone by. Maybe it's not a big deal anymore, but it is still a big deal. It's a big deal for me. It's a big deal for my brother. It's a big deal for my children who never knew their grandmother. She was loved. She has a family. She's not what you think.
Detective Murdock would like to speak to anyone who may have known Pamela in 1999 and known where she would have gone after she left jail or how her body ended up at the Deer Creek Hunting Club. You can contact him at the Nassau County Sheriff's Office. Katie Jeffries, First Coast News, on your side.